Hey, what do you do? This your boy Shiva Speeds, and today I want to talk to you guys about The Walking Dead Season 7, Episode 2, called The Well. And I gotta say, it just aired an hour ago, man. I gotta say, it's pretty damn good. It's coming off to a good start. The episode starts off, um, you know, we see Carol in a wheelbarrow being pulled by a horse by one of Ezekiel's men from the kingdom. And, you see her, look up at the sun, and the trees, and she's in a state of delirium due to the fact that she's lost a lot of blood from those gunshot wounds from one of the saviors that went after her last season. And I really find this to be really, I guess you could say, I guess you could say, how do I say it? A revelation of some sorts because you see her and Ezekiel have heart to heart, and you also see Morgan have a heart to heart with one of his, I guess you could say, one of his apprentices because Benjamin as Ezekiel, young Benjamin as Ezekiel calls him, isn't as good of a fighter as his father was. His father was once one of Ezekiel's men, and Benjamin explained the story to Morgan of how his father was killed. You know, Ezekiel had a group of 8 people to go up into a building, and I guess he was bitten by a walker, and they had to kill him. And I believe the person that Benjamin is taking care of is either his little brother or someone of some sorts. And as you can see, Benjamin was really curious as to how, because Ezekiel noticed that Morgan was pretty good with the staff. He was really skilled in the arts of Aikido with the staff. And he begged Morgan to teach Benjamin that so he could be a better fighter. So then he wouldn't have to go the path of his father. And Morgan began to train him. And they become as I see a little budding relationship right there between those two. And then you also see the conflict in with the contradiction. That was the key theme of Ezekiel because, as you can see, all Carol wants to do is just leave. She wants to live by herself so that no one has to worry about her. And you even see that as she tries to leave that night, Ezekiel catches her, and they have a heart to heart. And they come to terms of, what, Ezekiel just says, yeah, I am a contradiction. I was once a zookeeper. My real name it really is Ezekiel. And Shiva was caught in a concrete compound the day of the attack and slashed her leg open. Ever since I took care of her, she's been by my side. She's been faithful. I was once worked in community theater. I played King Arthur, Macbeth, and MLK as well. And yeah, the reason why I act the way I am is because so then the people have someone to look up to, a hero. Now you can't hate a man for doing that. To give people hope, and optimism. Can't hate him for that. And then Ezekiel says, what? I believe you guys call it the bullshitter, and Carol was a bullshit. She was playing the innocent and kind of person, which I really knew something was up because it really seemed really weird for her to be playing like that. Pretending to be like that. It really weirded me out. And it was really nice that Ezekiel saw right through that. And it was really nice because you also see prior to Ezekiel catching her trying to flee off into the night, while Benjamin is at the table with Morgan, you also see and hear more. He said, what, I've seen you reading a lot of books, and I've read almost every damn book in the same place. What is that? And Morgan tells him it's philosophy. He said, and Benjamin asked him, is it yours? He said, no. And he says, but if you're teaching me not to kill, and this you're teaching me Aikido, then what am I supposed to say? What? It's not up to me. People change their minds. I used to think that everything in this world is precious. And everyone learns differently. People change their minds sometimes. And Morgan's right. People do. And also I feel like in this episode we finally see. I think, in my opinion, I think that Morgan has come into terms with that philosophy that everything. You'll always have to be faced with the situation of having to kill something or defend yourself and not feel bad about it. You can see, for example, when they went to slaughter the pigs, give the pigs away to the saviors. You notice that Morgan was ready to use a gun but was still hesitant. I feel like in a way, he was still kind of conflicted with that philosophy of no killing. You know, everything, all life is precious. You know, I feel like he was still conflicted with that philosophy at that moment. You know, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of confliction within Ezekiel's kingdom because, you know, seeing one of your boys, you know, Richard, get free hits from Gavin, from one of the Savior's people, you know, and have no repercussion. You know, you can tell that irked Ezekiel really bad. You know, so now we don't see just Alexandria getting pimped. We also see Ezekiel's kingdom in some way, well, by the Saviors. You know, and I can tell there is going to be a rebellion very soon. I can feel it. It's probably going to be at Alexandria and Ezekiel's kingdom versus the Saviors and Negan's crew. And I'm really looking really forward to that. I think we'll be pretty boss. But that's what I gotta say about this. You know, overall it was a good episode. We also see a sneak peek for next week's episode where they see Daryl, you know, go through his torture, he's enduring more psychological torture by Negan and his right hand man. I don't know the man's name. I can't come to mind right now, but he's played by Stephen Orr. You know, he's Stephen Orr. You know, he plays Trevor from Grand Theft Auto 5. He looks just like Trevor, man. Like Jesus, man, he looks just much like Trevor. But you know, we see in the sneak peek that Daryl's going through even more psychological torture. So man, gotta be with him. And, you know, you even hear Negan say, you know, you're really strong. You're really tough to break. You know, and because Daryl is a pretty tough guy. You know, and people are also speculating how is Daryl gonna, you know, is Daryl going to be killed? Like, how is he gonna be sent off? So a lot of answers, so a lot of questions, and a lot of answers need to be given to those questions for next week. This is your boy Shiva Speaks. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. You know, feel free to comment what you guys think about this video in the comment section below and all that other jazz, man. I love y'all. One love.